Hello. So I'm being shown that you were silenced for a long time. You were in a situation, whether it was an upbringing or a relationship, but you were around people who you weren't allowed to express yourself. They didn't care what you had to say. They only cared about the way that they felt. They didn't value your feelings, your emotions, your thoughts, your opinions. There was no space for that. And you learned that it was safer to just stay quiet and not rock the boat, to stay quiet and not challenge these people, because if you did try to express yourself, if you did try to challenge them, you were punished in some way. Maybe they withheld love. Maybe they discarded you. They did something like that. Because these are highly narcissistic people that if you're not doing what they want you to do, they will discard you. They'll discard their own kids for not following their rules. They'll discard anybody because they have incredibly fragile egos. Narcissists, believe it or not, even though they come off a certain way, are highly insecure people. And underneath that mask, underneath that ego, is just a wounded little kid who didn't get the love that they needed from a parent or some situation. They're just a wounded little kid who needs love, okay? But they develop into these adults who become like controlling and manipulative and sometimes cruel, sometimes evil and immoral, because their need for control extends so far they can't live without it. And now I see that you were a victim of this type of situation. And you learned part of a response to being a victim of that is becoming a people pleaser. It's called a fawn trauma state. It's a trauma response, and it's a state of fawning. There, that's better. Where we just stay quiet. We just give the narcissist what they want. We just go along with it because it's safer and it's easier, and we needed to survive in those situations. But now you are not in that situation. You've come out of that situation, and I'm seeing that you are learning how to express yourself. You are learning that it's safe to speak your truth, that there are people in this world that actually want to hear what you have to say. They care about the way that you feel. They care what you have to say. They see you as being a valid, whole, beautiful human being that you are. And it's a big part of your healing process, okay? And it might be scary. It might be scary to speak your truth. It might be scary to put yourself out there because you were shown for so long that it wasn't safe, that I do see you trying, like in those situations, those with the narcissist, you trying to express yourself 100 different ways. Like maybe if I say it this way, they'll hear me, and they just didn't hear you, or they just didn't care. Or maybe they found you to be annoying. They wanted you to be like, ugh, just shut up already. And that's very frustrating. It's painful, but it's very frustrating. And I am seeing it's like if you tried to express yourself, they would immediately get defensive and act like you were trying to blame them. Like, you're just trying to blame me for this. You're just trying to blame me for that. But you weren't ever trying to blame anybody. You were trying to communicate. You were doing something healthy by communicating your feelings. And because they can't handle, they're too fragile, they can't handle that, they would flip it around back on you. They would always flip it onto you like you were at fault. And there might have even been some victim blaming there, where you, the victim of the narcissism, you being the victim, would try to express yourself and they just wouldn't hear it, or they would just come at you and keep coming at you to the point where you would almost explode. And then after you exploded, they'd be like, well, look at you. You're too angry. You're too this. You don't know how to, they would always make you be at fault, but you were not at fault. You were just trying to express yourself, but you were trying to do it to somebody who was incapable of hearing it. And so now I'm seeing you go through this process where you are releasing those feelings. Maybe you're having very vivid dreams where these people are in your dreams, or you're in a situation where you're trying to express yourself and you're not being heard, and you're feeling very frustrated and you're feeling sad. This is your body's way of releasing those emotions, of bringing them back to the surface so that you can validate yourself, so that you can give yourself the love that you need and the understanding. And that's the thing, like, you wanted to be understood. These people didn't care, and they never will. They're not people that are ever going to validate the way that you feel. So it's futile to try to do it with them. You have to validate it yourself. You have to show yourself that understanding. You have to tell yourself that your feelings are real and that you didn't deserve it, and that you love yourself, and that you're not too angry, that your anger is valid, that your anger comes from a place of being repressed for so long, that your sadness is valid, that your sadness comes from a place of being mistreated and having love withheld, of being controlled, of being made to feel like you weren't human. Okay? And so you give yourself that. And if you are being called to speak your truth in some way, this is going to be a very huge part of your healing process. Like I said, not to speak your truth to them. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't expect them to be like, oh, you're right, because that's never going to happen. But if you're being called to speak your truth to other people publicly, or to create something about it, write something about it, something like that, this is going to be a huge part of your healing process, because you need that validation. You need validation is part of the healing process, because when you are raised in those situations where you're getting zero validation, you tend to believe it. And so you get the validation from others first, and then you validate yourself. Okay, so I am seeing that there's an opportunity for you to express your truth, to say what you have to say, to not judge yourself for the way that you feel, to not shame yourself for the way that you feel. Because if you do that, you're doing the same thing that they did to you. But you're here to bring balance to that situation, so you can't do those things to yourself. You got to catch yourself when you're doing it and be like, nah, my feelings are valid. Let yourself feel it. Okay? Feeling your anger is healthy. Anger is a healthy reaction to being mistreated, or being treated poorly, being treated unfairly. It's how you express your anger. Okay? Are you attacking people with your anger? Attacking innocent people just because you feel angry? Or are you trying to express it in a healthy way? If you don't have the opportunity to express it in a healthy way because the person you're trying to express it to is not hearing, that's not who you got. That's not the person you express it to. Go write about it. Go release it in a different way. Go acknowledge it on your own. But your anger is not wrong. Your sadness is not wrong. Okay? And you are learning how to express this in a way that is healthy for you, that is part of your healing process. I don't know. I had to go through it too. I don't want to make this about me, but I went through, and if you've been following me for a while, especially on Instagram, where I started, you'll see that I went through that transformation and that healing process, because I had to say all of the things that I never got a chance to say because I was raised by a bunch of narcissists. So it came off very angry. It was angry, but it wasn't attacking. It was angry stuff. And I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of spiritual people, love and light people, people who had not yet dealt with their own pain and their own anger. So me addressing mine, which I was called to do by God, by me addressing it, they were like, oh, you're too angry, you're too negative. But the call from God was so strong, which as I'm seeing, you have this call from God. It's so strong in you to express your truth. You got to follow it. And if you do, you'll see that people care what you have to say. And when I did it, I received so much validation from people, and I needed that validation. I needed it at the time because I was healing. But then, you will continue to move forward. You'll continue to transform. You are the phoenix. You'll bring balance to those situations, and you'll learn how to articulate yourself one time, not 100 times. You'll learn how to control the tone of your voice because you finally do feel heard. You'll learn that it's okay to get angry, that anger's not bad. You don't have to shame yourself for being angry, but you'll learn how to regulate that emotion, and you'll learn how to express it in a way that not only helps you, but helps so many other people. Okay, I'm living proof because I went through all of that stuff myself. And now I'm here to express myself and to guide you. And it all comes through God. It comes from God through me. Okay? And I see that you are in this process. And I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. God is so proud of you. It's not safe to be around those narcissistic people, but it is safe to express yourself, and you will see that. And you do it step by step. It's a process. And I do see you doing it. I do see you moving through that process. You are capable. You are strong. And you're bringing balance. You're breaking those generational curses. You're breaking all of that dysfunction. And you're creating new patterns. And it's okay if you continued cycles for a short time. You had to do that to bring it into your awareness. It was part of the whole process. Okay, but you're now changing it. And I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. This is a big deal. What you're doing is huge. And it's not easy. But you're doing it, okay? I love you so much. God loves you so much. Your spirit team loves you so much. The earth loves you so much. I hope you have a really beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon.